Okay, watcher number 32. Now, let's make it look a little bit more like it fits the bike that it's intended to be fitted to. Welcome back to Delboy's Garage. Alright, so what I mean by this is that just doesn't look anything like it's going to go on the bike, does it? Really, think about it. I think you've all been very kind actually, because nobody in the comments has yet said, what the hell is that? How is that going to look like it goes on a roundy, curvy, swervy Bandit? The Bandit's kind of all curves and roundy bits, and this is kind of all straight and spiky like a Kawasaki. So I'm not going to have any of that. That's going to look obviously completely different. And this was just a case of getting the basic shape correct, so I can slide it on the bike and offer it up, and it looks great. It looks like it's going to give me the effect I want, but that isn't. It just looks wrong at the minute. It's got too many sharp angles, and I had to have those angles because then I can measure between there and cross reference it, so I know it's all so it's square and equilateral, you know, so it's right. So obviously before that gets any more detailed, like with having its cowling bits on top and so on, I've got time while it's all in bits still to do some curving and smoothing, and I think radiusing is what it's going to be. So I've got to take all these sharp edges off completely and radius them, and that doesn't just mean rubbing them with a file. Obviously you can do that just to make them safe, but I want them properly radiused so that they look correct, and that means measuring them, curving them with a little template, and then get them on the grinder and make some accurate, take some time over it, some accurate radiuses on the thing so that it starts to look rounded and curvy and fits on the rest of the bike, which is rounded and curvy. Okay, so let's get the grinder and set her up, and then do some marking. Right, this, not all of it needs to be, it's not literally every single corner because some of it's going to be joined to the bike, so that kind of goes there, and will be dictated by its length and angles, which are all pre-worked out. So it's just that one on the outside there. Where are you? Right, it's just that one there, and the other side. I'm going to leave that for a minute. Not so sure about that one, because that one's going to have angles that need to be the same. Thinking out loud, talk to myself, right? And so it's those two, and the back ones. So 1, 2, 3, 6, 8 radii. Let's get our measurement. Now, I think the best measurement is something that's going to be used on every single one. So it's a common shape and circumference. And what I'm going to do is use this little magnet, circular, push it right to the edge, and just mark them in, just as a test. See what that looks like. That's about right. You can always radius more off it, but not less. You can't put it back on, so just going to do it. Yeah, that's about right. So scribe them in. I'll do as minimal as possible. See, that makes your teeth go on edge. That's it. And that'll look the same then. Get an equal radius, which is obviously quite important because otherwise it will look lopsided. And the longer you work on anything, the more time and effort you put into it. So, the more it's important to get it right. You've got more to lose, sort of thing, as it goes along. Right, just taking off the excess, just the worst. Trimming it with dish nips, just make life a bit easier, a bit less noisy. And don't go, I'm not going too close because it distorts right on that line. I'll let the grinder do it so it stays nice and flat. and true. There we go, let's see what they look like. Right, going to use regular nuts like that as spacers so that it can stand off the surface as intended, kind of like that, and then be invisibly welded from the back, which means welding the nuts onto there and then welding through the other side, because once that's, you can't weld in there, so you're going to have to drill through the back and plug weld them, which is a little bit of fun and a little bit head scratch. And it all starts with just marking out where it's going to sit so it's equal all the way around, which is how it was marked out in the first place, because it's cut right, it will now fit right, I hope. So pencil line, whoops. Just a pencil line round. It's not a cut line, it's just to show me where it's all going to go. So when we drill, we'll drill in the right place and quite a lot inboard, so not too close to the edge, because I don't want to see these when they're welded in place. I want them to be invisible. So there, 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 there and there. I mean, it is only reasonably approximate. This doesn't have to be accurate. That just tells me roughly where those spacer nuts are. A bit more that way. And then that will stand it off quite nice. Right. Then I can just come straight through there, and where they cross is where we will drill. And that's just literally going to be plug weld holes. Just going to drill kind of a 6mm hole so I can plug weld into the middle of the nut and hold it in place. Parallel with that. That's it. Hang on, where are you? There you go. And there, that's it. Right, so where they cross, those four, that's 4 plug weld holes, so that's that one. Right, next one. Right, that's going to go on there, so just to find exactly where they need to be, bring them across. As long as the welder can see them when you come through, you should be able to pick them up quite nicely. That'll go on there, match up quite nice. Right, let's get the welder up. Need a lot to hold them on. Yeah, they're very decorative, so you don't need to lean on them. They don't need masses and masses of weld. Right, take that off. I think we are good to go. None of them are going anywhere. Let's get these drill head 8mm holes and I can weld through them. Right, a little cleaner. Right, clamp that in place and then plug weld it through. They're a little tiny bit offset, but that doesn't matter at all. In fact, the fact that they're a little bit offset means I can hit them with the weld just that little bit better and then down in through to make it properly filled up. Right, let's hit it, see what it looks like. solid. Right, let's clean them up. I reckon we made a jump forward. Right, let them cool off and we can offer them up. Right, I think that will do for one day. That's the sum total of. There we are. Kind of stood off the surface, decorative, rock hard, and I've just plug welded them in the back, ground the welds down. I've just put some filler in them to stop the water getting in. Honestly, it doesn't need any more metal in it. It's getting a little bit heavy actually. This is 16 gauge. Somebody asked me in the last comments box. It is 16 gauge, a little bit thick perhaps for this, but the great thing is it's tough and strong and it's not going to buckle and twist. And when you're welding sheet metal, if you've ever done it, you know what it's like. 16 gauge is great. You can weld it, you can make shapes out of it, and it's good. But if you start going down to 20 gauge, honestly, it's really, really hard to weld without it all going buckly. So I'm going to just kind of mock this up on the bike and I'll show you what it looks like, but it takes 4 hands, so I'm just going to do this and I'll come back in a minute. Right, here we are. Kind of ignore the masking tape. That gives you an idea. Looks a bit shit really at the minute, but obviously taking the corners off has immediately blended it in a little bit more, just radius in those edges. That took a little while, and in the back here there'll be a panel across just to give a little shelf, just to put some idiot lights and a little tiny clock on that, so it will tell we're going. Obviously a little bit of this is going to be cut out, so anywhere I don't need metal, that's going to get cut out so that I can put, when the shelf's across the top, you don't need 2 pieces, so that will save weight. At the minute it weighs about 2.5–3 pounds, which is quite a lot. I'm going to bore lots of holes in it with the old cone drill, so that it kind of matches and picks all this stuff up, and possibly some bolts if they don't weigh too much. But that's the kind of idea. Really looks nothing at the minute, like these things don't when they're halfway through. Doesn't give you any idea what the finished effect is going to be like, but it's just, in my mind, better than a naked light. So a long way to go yet, but I'm starting to feel now that the fabrication's actually halfway going as planned. I've just got to keep thinking, holes along the front, holes along there, holes in there, then on through, so a larger hole on the outside, small hole on the inside, blah blah blah, holes around the sides, all around, so it all kind of picks up this effect, and then that visual effect of paintage will also take place, which is lots of flap disc with the 80 grit, and then 2 or 3 layers of paint. You know, we've done that loads of times, and it really will match in when it's done, but at the moment it's steel and it's halfway. I reckon that's halfway. Right, so there you go, that's it. That's number 32. Penny Pit Stop's just got home and I'm going to get the kettle on, so I think this lot's then going to take probably the whole evening to render this, because there's loads and loads of clips, and this has been 3.5 hours since I started. It's quite a long-winded one, this, but it's coming along. It's as I planned it to be so far. Thanks for watching. See you next time.